On the very rim of known space, justice is a long way away.
Still got to get that figured out so you guys can hear that too, because that'll make it easier for everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian, and joining me, as always, is your co-host, Spaz.
Hello.
Your co-host, Julie.
Hello, everyone.
Your co-host, Thorsten.
Hello.
And your co-host, Jacob.
Red 2 standing by.
Nice.
Well done. I
Take
love
a
it.
short one today.
No, it's fine.
I missed the song. Do a song again.
Do the
next one.
Do the Polish national anthem. I don't know it, so I want to hear it. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It is the last Wednesday of 2021, and usually what we do for those shows, for the last one of the year, is take a look back, retrospective, if you will. It's kind of a mix of retrospective, kind of a mix of award show, even though there aren't any like physical awards or anything. And
Not in the budget.
Budget? We have a budget?
Yeah, exactly. That's why they're not in there. We don't have one.
But 2000, I do want to say one thing before we get rolling, and that is 2001 was kind of a difficult year for the podcast here. We lost two foundational members, really. We lost Jim.
You mean 2021, not 2001.
Oh, did I say that?
Yes.
Okay, 2021. Thank you. Yeah, we lost two of our co-hosts in earlier this year, and we had to go on hiatus to bring some new blood on. And I have to say, I am so thankful for the three of you, Julie, Thorsten, and Jacob, for agreeing to come on. You've really helped revitalize this show in a lot of ways, and you bring a lot to it, and we're just so happy to have you here. So I just wanted to say thank you for helping make 2021 go out on a higher note than it might have otherwise. So.
You're saying that like I required any convincing.
Well, I know, but I still really appreciate it. So I just wanted to say that publicly. Because, I mean, when the other two left, it was like, okay, what the hell do we do now? Can't just be Spaz and I.
We've done podcasts with just the two of us, but that's when we had a guest.
Yeah, then we have a guest. Just the two of us. For a while, it was just me and Jim for a while, and that wasn't that great. So that's why we started bringing in more people. So yeah, going from 4 to 5 has definitely been a trip. So thank you guys. Now, friends, we want to start this award show with a presumptive award. We are going to give out. And this was Julie's idea, but I love it, so I'm stealing it. We're going to give out the most disappointing games of the decade award today.
The decade?
The decade, as in the 2020s. We are, so what, how do you say something coming up? Like, instead, like when someone, it's past, it's posthumously. So, is it presumptively? Is that how you say it?
Preemptively.
Preemptively? Okay. We are giving the preemptive most disappointing games of the 2020s to both Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen. Because we feel not only were they the most disappointing games of the last decade, they will continue to be the most disappointing games of this coming decade going forward, because they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Presumptively?
Works for us.
Presumptively, worst games of the decade we are giving in advance to both Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen, because, let's be honest.
To exactly zero objections from the crowd.
Yeah, let's be honest. We don't even know if Star Citizen is even going to get to 1.0 in this decade. It probably won't, if it ever does. And Elite, like, what are they going to do next? Like, they gave us Space Legs. No one wanted that. So what are they going to give us next that we don't want? Don't know. Don't care. People are making their own games based on what they want from Elite. They're taking what they want from Elite and making their own games out of it. That should tell you something.
And they're doing it better because that means the games have actual focus.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right.
I
Right.
just wanted to pipe in here and say why I'm so incredibly disappointed with Star Citizen, aside from the fact that it would be nice to play it sometime before I died, let alone retired. But I don't think that opportunity is ever going
But
to.
Julie, you can play it today, and it has stuff in it today that can annoy you. You don't have to wait until it's released to annoy you. You can play
Now, I will give Star Citizen credit. They are making progress with a lot of asterisks there, in that they are adding stuff that actually makes the game more enjoyable. The problem is the crippling scope creep that is inevitably that has settled in. That will inevitably lead to the game basically being in limbo because they don't know where they're going with this.
I will add at this point that one of the long-running jokes we've had on this podcast is that they included procedural eggs. That every egg cooked would be procedurally generated, as if that was something that mattered to anyone.
See, I have a whole other reason for despising this game as well. And this is when it first was advertised, and I said, wow, Chris Roberts doing a game, and it's going to be like everything I wanted out of Eve Online and not any of the bad stuff.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
I drank not just one, but several pictures of the Kool-Aid. I talked about it in glowing terms on the other podcast I host. And I convinced some of our listeners to play it, including one who spent $6,000 on it. And I said, oh my God, it's like, yeah.
Oh, no.
So I feel like I want to slap Chris Roberts, like bring one up from the floor. And so that's another reason why it's got my vote for worst game of the decade, aside from the fact that, he keeps asking for more and more and more and more and more and more.
But people keep giving him more. That's the thing. The people keep giving him more. That's the problem. They keep falling for it.
And a lot of times all he's selling is, not even an NFT. He's just selling like a picture of a spaceship in some cases.
Oh, my favorite thing, and we'll move on after this. My favorite thing has been the hardware tie-ins they've claimed to be doing. Like they were going to have a SATEC joystick and nothing ever came of that. And they were going to have like this whole face tracking thing that used cameras to like put your facial expressions in the game that no one asked for and that they've never talked about since. Like all these distractions.
Sort of, apparently.
What?
But yeah, they've sort of added like it's called face over IP. They've added it. Does it work? Barely, but they've added it.
Oh God, I didn't even know that. But no one wants that. Like, I was just hoping for like a new freelancer. That's really all I was hoping for. And
just let us fly the damn ships and do stuff in them. That's what we're paying you the most for.
Yeah, if you want to make
what the hell is Quarter 42?
If you want to make a movie with Gary Oldman and Mark Hamill, go do that. Go play director again or whatever you did for a while.
Wing Commander.
Yeah. Anyway. So now with that out of the way, we're going to get on to better things, my friends. 2021 was, I don't know. For me, 2021 was kind of a year for gaming. I mean, COVID has affected a lot, but I don't know. This year to me didn't really stand out that much in terms of gaming. There were a couple of like great things, but nothing like really like set the heart on fire. So we have a few categories, my friends, that we're going to go through and talk about. And the first one we'll start with is what's the most surprising game of 2021? Now, these aren't games that have to come out in 2021. These are games we just played like for the first time or whatever in 2021. That helps us define, like when we look back at 2021, these are the games we'll think of. So it didn't have to come out this year. We're not that strict. I mean, come on. So, Spaz, I'll start with you. We'll go around the table if we had a table. What would you say is your most surprising game of 2021?
Well, it's one that came out in November of 2020. And that would be Yakuza Like a Dragon. Because I completed it in 2021. So, that
works.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, that was the re-release outside of Japan. The actual game actually came out in, I believe last year in Japan, or like the year before that in Japan. So the numbers on this are going to be janky anyway.
And
but for me, it is my favorite JRPG of all time. So it's a very hard thing to actually get to that point. But yeah, it absolutely hit that mark.
Hang tight 1 second. I got to do a technical thing. Give me 1 second.
Things are happening.
Okay, we should be back. Voice meter got all robotic again. It's been doing that more and more. I think I need to update it.
I think it's Discord actually. But it got better.
Yeah, well, once I reinitialized voice meter, it went away. So maybe Discord has something to do with it as well. I don't know. But so yeah, I could. So your most surprising game, I only heard a bit of it, but was Yakuza Like a Dragon? Would you say? Because it really took the series in a completely new direction, gameplay wise, from the brawler that they had been to this more traditional JRPG thing that just works really well. Like it's amazing. You told me the story about how they started that as a joke, and
it effectively started as a joke around the office, and it became so popular within that they decided to just make a game out of it. And because they went with a full party as opposed to just a solo setup, it works very, very well for a JRPG, for a turn-based game.
Yeah, it definitely allows a lot of character too, because not only is it just you, it's several other people now, and they're interacting and forming bonds and stuff. Is that the way the direction the series is going to go in from now on? Do you think this?
So I can confirm that that's what's going to happen. The Yakuza, the mainline Yakuza games going forward, starting from 8 onward, will be focusing on Ichiban and continuing with the JRPG gameplay.
Oh, that's great.
The Judgment spin-off series, which has 2 games in it, Judgment and Lost Judgment, those will continue with the brawler combat that the Yakuza series has been known for.
Oh, that's good. So everyone gets what they want, basically. That's nice.
And additionally, we're going to be getting, from what I got, re-releases of the rest of the mainline Yakuza series before 7, because I believe we're currently up to 3. And also, hopefully, we'll get the historical spin-off as well. I don't remember the name of it, sadly.
Yeah, there's been remasters from 0 through 3. 4, 5, and 6, because they were relatively newer, were not remastered yet. And that's just because it came out in the PS4 era. Xbox era.
I just hope the Judgment games come to PC. I just really hope they come to PC at some point. It'd be silly not to.
That has been in question. And the main reason why is because the actor who portrays the lead, Takumi Yagami is the name of the character. His agency is, let's just say they have some very odd views about how specific things can be done. For example, the actor who portrays Yagami is a former idol singer. So because of that, they didn't allow any sort of karaoke within the Judgment games because they didn't want anyone taking that footage and then using his likeness to make content out of it.
What?
Yeah.
Because Japanese copyright law is
Copyright law over
interesting.
there is very, very strict.
Oh.
If the rights holders say you cannot do this, it shuts it down
completely.
completely. Yeah. If there's a series that's being made, for example, as an adaptation, and the author has a disagreement with how things are going, and they say no, you have to stop. It doesn't matter if they are 11 episodes out of 12 in production completed. They have to shut everything down because of copyright law.
Fair use is not a thing, and like the sort of contracts are also not really a thing. I'm not super familiar with Japanese law, unsurprisingly, but I know that the copyright law is a strict, just it is a parody of itself in some regards.
Yeah. With rights holders, you have to get not just the agency for the person's likeness, but if the person does any singing, you have to get all the music licenses. You have to get all of these things working in concert in order to make that work. And if anyone along the line says no, it can kill the entire thing.
Basically, imagine if Twitch copyright was somehow worse.
Oh God.
Yeah, that
So-
should give you an idea.
So before it can come to PC ever, that stuff needs to get worked out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and one of the things that the agency is afraid of is modding.
Panic.
Because they don't want that's why the Yakuza games didn't come to PC for a long time, is because people were afraid that, or the agencies were afraid that people were going to mod in characters and change the likenesses, and of course, again, that goes into the whole fair use thing being not a thing.
Then they did, and no one cared, so...
But yeah, haven't they been successful on PC? Like really successful?
They have been very successful.
The Kiwani
including
games
with the Game Pass.
extremely.
Yeah, including with Game Pass, which a couple of the Yakuza games have been on Game Pass. They're leaving very soon, though.
Right.
But but yeah, side note about that is that copyright law is the main reason why we haven't seen the Judgment games on PC yet.
Oh, well, I hope we do.
That particular agency is known for being very strict about how they deal with the actors within their agency.
Wow. I just got a whole lesson in Japanese copyright law I was not expecting. Chris in the chat says objection. That's his knowledge of Japanese law, and I'm pretty much where he was.
Now, first off, great reference. Second, that's not even proper. It is part proper Japanese law, and I actually am versed in it enough to tell what is horribly wrong with how Phoenix Wright does things, but that's not topic of conversation right now.
But that's Phoenix Wright.
Right. That's another thing. Well, good reference though. Julie, what would you say is your most surprising game of the year?
Okay. Can I have two?
Of course.
All right. Well,
we're not strict here about anything, so don't worry about it. Yeah, of course you can.
Okay. My first most surprising game of the year, and it's surprising for a special reason, even though I played all the games. My surprising game of the year is Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And normally when someone says, "Oh, hi, we're remastering things again, so we can sell it to you again," I say, "Yeah, right. You and I usually I won't have anything to do with it." But this time I said, "What? You mean Electronic Arts finally let go of Mass Effect 3 and let it go to Steam?" And I know that was first by itself in 2020. But, it was on sale just this week in 2021. And it's like, it's nice to have the whole series all in one place and to be able to give EA Origin the old heave-ho, because that's the only reason it was still on my computer. And so I said, well, bye-bye, see you later. The other one that I think is my most surprising game of the year, and it's for a different reason, and that's Cyberpunk 2077. And everybody said, "Man, this is a terrible game. Oh, this is horrible. I played some garbage before, but this is garbage." And I played it, and I said, "Wow, a game with Keanu Reeves in it?" And I said, I really love it, aside from, spoiler alert, I'm not spending the rest of eternity, even if it's my character, in a formless void for anybody, even if it is Keanu Reeves. So those are my two surprising games of the year.
I keep hearing
Yeah,
better.
so
I will say I love Cyberpunk 2077.
Really? Okay, okay, I guess I'll get it.
I mean, I imagine if you, I'm waiting for for a big enough sale right now, is actually 50% off to potentially to maybe get it as a, because from what I can gather, at half off, it's a serviceable open world game.
Yeah, there's a lot to love about it. Honestly, there is. There's a lot of world building that's been done. You can make a hilariously overpowered character and go hacking your way through the world without ever firing a shot. Clearing entire buildings full of enemies without ever firing a shot because you're using either their own weapons against them or hacking them so they commit suicide. I mean, it's very hilarious that you can actually do that, and it works.
Plus, it has as the main character someone who has got to be the nicest guy in Hollywood, and that is Keanu Reeves. And just as a quick aside, I saw him once where this woman backed over his classic motorcycle, right?
Oh,
And so the press corps is there. He was in the middle of making the most recent Matrix movie, and they're saying, Keanu, somebody just backed over your bike. Just calmly walks up to the woman, says to her, "If it starts, I'm good." Tries to start it 10 times, but it starts, and he just said, "Okay, have a nice day, everybody." And I said, "Wow, what a great guy." And this is the kind of guy he is, and he's the main character. And I said, even if the game was garbage, I'd play it just for Keanu Reeves. I still wouldn't spend forever in a formless void for him.
I don't know if you guys have seen Always Be My Maybe on Netflix. It's a very charming movie, but he has a cameo in it that is an absolute delight. It's almost worth the whole movie. Like, the movie is great on its own, but his cameo in that movie, playing an outrageous version of himself, basically, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
I feel kind of out of the conversation because I actually don't care much about him. Mostly because I just don't do the celebrity worship thing in general, less than because I have anything against him specific.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's totally fair.
Oh, it's not celebrity worship. I got a God that I worship, thank you. It's just, he's a really nice guy, whereas so many people in Hollywood, they buy off their own PR, and, like one particular actor who played Batman and screamed at someone. It turns out he found out the lighting director was just as popular in Hollywood as he is.
Uh-huh.
But I am a huge fan of Keanu Reeves. Have been since basically Bill and Ted. So yeah, I keep meaning to buy this. I just should do it. Anyway, I keep hearing better and better things about it. So maybe it's time.
Yeah, on console, Cyberpunk had a very bad release, and it was worse than PC because there were a lot of console specific problems that were not on PC. PC played fine for the most part, but it's gotten better since then, and that's why its reviews have trended higher and higher, especially since there was a big sale last month, and a lot of people bought into it and found that it's not the same game that a lot of us saw at launch. It's a lot better. So their reviews trended to be much more positive, a better initial positive impression than a lot of us saw when we bought it at launch.
All right, you guys convinced me.
I'll expect a report on the game later on. Do a stream of it.
Oh, there's even one little thing to look forward to: a sentient gun. That yeah, there's a sentient gun you can find. He talks to you. He asks you initially whether or not you want him in non-lethal mode or in lethal mode, and you'll want to. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it when you actually find him. But
Let's not preempt this too much.
yeah, there's some fun stuff you can do with him, and he's very, very fun. He's kind of like Clippy, but as a gun.
Oh, okay. Well, y'all.
That sounds
convinced me.
equal parts great and terrifying.
It's funny. It's a funny terrifying.
Or is he like Badgie? Is he like Badgie from Lower Decks?
Kind
Okay.
of. Right, let's carry on.
All right. So let's see. So Thorsten, what would you say is your most surprising game or games of the year?
First, Cyberpunk 2077 was on my list of the bad games from this year. I had to reconcile this a bit because of the arguments Spaz brought up. I've seen a lot of good things happening to this game, and I'm happy that CD Projekt Red didn't let us down. That's great. They did it better than many other companies this year. So I've got actually 3 choices for the most surprising games, and the first one is Pulsar Lost Colonies. That's maybe the first multiplayer bridge simulator that actually works, in my opinion. And we had a lot of fun this year playing it. My second choice would be Star Dynasties, which came out of nowhere for me, and I had a lot of fun with this one. Really, it's Crusader Kings in space, and I didn't win the game once, but I have immensely fun with it. And my third choice would be Spaceborne. I didn't play it much, but I've got really say how much work did get into this game is insane, and you have to consider it's a single death, and compared to other larger companies we already mentioned, they should be a bit ashamed if you look at this game. Oh, so that were my 3 choices.
Yeah, I love Spaceborne and its dev so much. I'll never forget, just a side note, where like he was creating the game, it had piloting, it had combat, and he's like one day it's like, oh, by the way, I just added a dynamic economy. Like so,
Yeah. I remember that update too.
Yeah.
And he did, and it actually is a dynamic economy.
It's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
And it actually works, and it's actually dynamic. He's like, oh, I just added that. Like, what? Oh my god. Yeah, folks, if you haven't played Spaceborne and you have any interest in spaceship games, what the hell are you doing? Go get it right now. It's so freaking it's so good.
I guess I will, because I actually don't have it.
Oh, go get it. It's so good.
Oh, it's out of early access. Never mind, I don't have an excuse.
Oh, yeah, no, it came out of early access, I think, late last year. I think.
In summer, if I remember correct.
Okay, you're probably
No,
right.
I have it.
Oh,
I
good.
have it already.
Oh, yay. That's even better.
Right, let's carry on. Sorry.
Yay. So, well, Jacob, let's go to you now. What would you say most surprised you in 2021?
Most surprised, hard to say, because I'm the sort of person that is very reserved about getting excited for things.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe I have a couple of choices.
Oh. What just... Hello? Guys?
Uh-oh. Hello?
Okay, so it's not just me. Jacob.
My apologies. I have a very temperamental microphone cable that doesn't like being bumped into. So, what I was going to say is I have a couple of games that I kind of... I have like 2 subcategories for that. One which is like 2 games that have come out recently and one game that is actually coming out soon. And that is the category of what do you mean this is getting a sequel? These games include Half-Life Alyx, Mountain Blade Bannerlord, and the apparently soon coming out next year Stalker 2. Because for some reason we live in the timeline where apparently all these games that were thought long dead, that were thought like these cult classics that everyone forgot about and just kind of wished for a sequel that was never going to happen, suddenly are getting sequels. Half-Life Alyx turned out great. Bannerlord is still getting updates and it is good. And as for Stalker 2, well, we'll find out. The NFT thing wasn't inspiring, but they rolled it back, so tells me nothing.
I mean, at least they listened to the blowback on that particular.
Thank
thing.
goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also have, when it comes to surprising games, I have one game that's worth mentioning, but I feel like I'll save it for later. Because while you mentioned that this year wasn't very big for big releases, I disagree for this genre.
Okay.
But I've made the interesting decision of getting into fighting games. Stuff like Street Fighter. Most specifically, I started off with Guilty Gear Strive, which came out like in the middle of this year. And it's hard for me to talk about with people who presumably have very little idea how fighting games operate. I'm guessing I'm getting no objections to that statement.
I don't know enough
I don't
know enough about fighting games.
For some reason, alongside that, we got like Tekken 7, we got BlazBlue, we got basically, for some reason, 2021 is the year of the fighting game for reasons that I do not understand.
Oh, so it was a good year for fighting games.
Add another entry in this category, and that is Hellish Quad. Have you ever tried it, Jacob?
Yes, I own it. It's really good.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, as well as a smaller like category, the last game on that deserving of that particular award is another obscure thing that deserves the award because it's obscure. Armored Commander 2. It's a very simple game, very cheap on Steam. It is essentially a roguelike about driving and commanding a tank.
Oh god, yeah, that game. Whew.
It's a game that seems tailor-made for exactly me, in the sense that I absolutely adored every second of it and every part of it, and I sunk in a lot of hours into it, most specifically like 20 hours, which by my standard is a lot for a single game. And I honestly, it came out completely out of nowhere. I remember something about there being a prototype that I've never heard of. But it came out on Steam this year. I got it, and it's probably one of the best games I played this year, bar none.
Yeah, it's good. It's amazing. Got so much content. It's ridiculous.
It also hates you, but
so
the real tanks.
That's the roguelike in there. Plus also tanks. Tanks hate you too. You're right.
I've got two honorable mentions that I didn't bring up, but
right.
But I should mention them because they were very surprising to me and they were very memorable for me. Valheim is one that, I'm sure most of the people here have heard of it, at least, if they haven't played it. There's a lot you can do, base building. There is survival, yeah. And I know Brian isn't really into that at all, but that doesn't matter because you can play it in a creative mode without having to worry about any of that. But it has a lot going for it. A simple art style, but very functional for what it does. And the gameplay, you can I've seen people build things like an Enterprise D model within the game made mostly out of wood and stone. Hey, it works, right?
You try hard enough.
Yeah, exactly. If you try hard enough, and if you're in creative mode, I suppose you can build just about anything. The other one, of course, has to be one that I know Brian and I played a lot of this year. Sunshine Heavy Industries.
Well, I was about to mention that game because that's my most surprising game of 2021.
Yeah, the writing on it is so good.
Because
it's so good.
I don't like spaceship building. I typically don't like build. I just want to fly them. I don't want to build them. But something about the way this game handles spaceship building, along with its writing and its story, just really hooked me. And I was just shocked at just how good that damn thing is.
And when you were playing it on stream, that time just flew by. I remember that the time just flew by for you. The other thing is, it's the logistics of it that make it interesting, because you have a budget to build the ship, whatever you're building it for. Jack, the game we're talking about is Sunshine Heavy Industries.
So good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
But the money you have left over from your budget gets used to buy new parts.
Yes.
So if you learn how to build a very optimized build, even if it doesn't look great, it doesn't matter. It's function over form, because, well, the more money you have left over, the more parts you can afford.
Yeah.
And you're not having to buy new parts to every time you use them. You're just unlocking the parts for use in your shop.
It's an amazing mix of puzzle and optimization that just shouldn't work as well as it does, but it does. And it's such a good game. If you guys haven't played that one yet, at least check it out. It is so good. It's probably one of the best games I played this year.
Yeah, and the writing.
Oh God. It's so funny. It's so funny. All right. Let's change tack, and now we'll talk about our most disappointing games of the year.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Do you want to start, Jacob? We can change the order a little bit if you want to start. Do you have something on your mind?
No, actually, because I want to because I have discovered the hack to never be disappointed in a game, and that is don't get excited for them in the first place. So I'd rather someone else start because I actually need to come up with an answer for this.
That's fine. Spaz, we'll start. We'll go around our usual order. Spaz, I'll start with you. What would you say is your most disappointing game?
Ooh, that's a tough call.
I know.
And there were a lot of good games this year.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad, it was a really good year for gaming. It wasn't there was nothing huge or anything, but there was a lot of consistently good releases this year.
I mean, there was Loop Hero. There was Sunshine Heavy Industries.
Was Loop Hero this year? Loop Hero was not this year. Loop Hero was this. Jesus Christ, how long is this year? Oh my God.
Been going on for a bit.
March. Yeah.
March? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that seems so far away. Oh my God. Anyway, wow, Loop Hero was this year. I thought it was 2020, man. I really, really did. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry,
Jeremiah,
go ahead.
I'm going to disagree with you. There are ways that every game can be disappointing, but it's in you how you choose to be disappointed, what your expectations are, whether or not a game is actually disappointing to you.
Guys, if you don't like this we could skip this category if you don't want to if you
I've got two of them.
Oh, all right.
Okay, I actually have an example by a bit of a stretch, but yeah, let's carry on.
All right. This first one I was looking forward to, and this one actually came out this year, and that's Space-Based Startopia. And
wow.
I was looking forward to a space station builder, not something that turned me into a virtual person who swept up the garbage all the time. And I am so disappointed with this. The other one is kind of an honorable mention because the last expansion didn't come out came out on November 23rd, 2020. So it doesn't really qualify, but I feel I have to mention it. And that is World of Warcraft Shadowlands. And the thing is, people will say, well, how do you know it's bad? Did you play it? I said, I played everything but that. And I said, Rob Pardo, who used to be the lead designer, left you a fantastic game. How can you do this crap to his game. So that's my dishonorable mention. But yeah, space-based Startopia. I was looking forward to it. So get rid of the garbage cleaning up part, and I'm still in.
I mean, the original had the garbage stuff too, but it was handled much, much better. It wasn't as much of a thing in the original game, if I recall correctly. But it's like they wanted to add busy work to this one because it wasn't very good, so they wanted to distract you with some stupid busy work. So they're like, let's put in more trash.
I already have to spend a large part of the day cleaning up after my dog and parrot because my parrot spends her day throwing her seed at the puppy who likes to eat it. I don't need to do it in my game as well.
Oh, man. Thorsten, do you have an entry as for most disappointing?
Yes.
Okay.
Elite Dangerous, obviously.
Oh boy, here we go.
Sorry, I've got to mention that, but I don't get how Frontier is able to blow this game as it does.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started. They just have to read the official forum. They get a lot of tips. Yeah, they've got examples of other games that do it right. Frontier managed to blow a simple thing. It's insane.
I mean, what it really comes down to is that rather than fix the foundational problems that the game has had since the beginning, they'd rather keep adding stuff no one asked for in order to distract us. And it's not distracting us; it's making us more angry and less likely to play the game. And so, So I can't blame you on that one. I loaded Elite up for 10 minutes this year because I got an Oculus. And so I'm like, oh, well, let's see what this looks like in VR. Wow, this looks great. Oh, yeah, there's nothing here. I'm just going to turn around. And there's no reason I should play this. I'm just going to turn around now. So, yeah. It was nice.
I tried it several times this year. But, I can't get into it again.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. That sucks. All right, Jacob, did you think of one? I think you said you had something now.
Okay, so I have like 1.5 examples. I have a lesser one actually mentioned in chat, and I don't think it's deserving of an award, but it still felt a bit disappointing. Less because it's bad, and Thorsten just failed.
Wait, what?
Oh,
well, hopefully he'll come back.
Well, I'll continue on.
Please continue, yeah.
So, welcome back. So, it's Carrier Command 2, but not because it's bad, but because I didn't listen to my own advice and got horrendously overhyped for it.
Oh, yeah.
The thing, it's not bad by any means. It's a very solid game, and it's by orders of magnitude better than Gaia Mission, partially by default. But it's still rather janky, very slow, and honestly, that's the biggest issue. It's an extremely slow game, and it's a bit clunky. It has been improved since release quite significantly, mostly in terms of polish, and it's still a good game. It's a game I personally enjoy. It's just not the best thing ever. As for the game that actually disappointed me is drumroll I'll skip the drum roll. The one, the only, Derek Smart's Wild Ride Battle Cruiser Generations.
Oh, wait.
Oh, boy.
How can that disappoint you? I mean, how did you go into it?
I love it.
Okay, please. I'm sorry. Please.
So, I was hoping for an excellent single player like Starship Management game.
Oh.
And I got a confusing mess of UI elements, outdated design, and a developer that is apparently way too full of himself.
I love Derek. I love Derek, but his games are challenging. I'm trying to be nice here.
Yes. There's a non-zero chance he'll just show up in chat, in which case, no, I will not take back anything I just said.
Derek, I love you, but your games are hard to love. That's really the nicest thing I could say. They are they're very hard to love.
I just came back and did another playthrough of Rebel Galaxy because just give me something, games industry, please.
Well, hopefully Starfleet 2 next year. And God, I guess you can replay Klingon Academy. I don't know.
I need to play Klingon Academy. I get it because it's not as easy as you make it sound.
Oh, well, no, it's got. There are some fan made. I can direct you to some fan made patches that get it running great. Anyway,
let's do that later.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. I mean, yeah, I don't want to be mean, but yeah.
Jeremiah. Do not bring up that title, I think.
Oh, actually, yes, we have played Chorus, Jeremiah. I would call that a disappointment. It wasn't going to be on my list. That wasn't the one I was going to mention. But it's up there. I mean, I tried playing Chorus and it was like,
it's slightly worse ever space.
I know there are people who like it. Yeah, they're wrong. No, it's okay.
Honestly, it's just slightly worse ever space too.
So
it's not particularly terrible. It's just underwhelming.
So my biggest disappointment this year, I forgot about this game because that's how boring it was, is Redout Space Assault. Because I loved the Redout racing game. That was a great, like, F-Zero, Wipeout style, hover race. It was a great racing game. And they're like, oh, they're doing a space game. And they released this on-rails, horribly...
Kind of like Star Fox, but not as good. Not remotely as good.
Yeah, it just wasn't fun at all. It was like... It was like I say that there's something. I always say there's something worse than being a bad game, and that's being a boring game, like being a forgettable game. Like the bad games you remember, the boring and forgettable games. Clearly, you just like I had to look at what came out this year to be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that stupid Redout game. It was so boring and ugh. It was just like, what were they thinking? Like, just make Redout 2. I think they're doing that now. Just, why'd you do this? Why? It was a waste.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It was very unfortunate.
It was a waste of everyone's time. Just a waste of everyone's time. Yeah, it was very unfortunate. That is a good way to put it. That is a very good way to put it. It's a shame.
Well, nobody sets out to make a bad game.
No, of course not. Of course not. But
unless it's going to be heavily monetized with NFTs. That's another.
Unless you're the developer of Kinetic Void, then you go out. No, I'm kidding.
Oh god, that's a callback.
Who the hell knows?
That's a long callback.
It's a long. Yeah, it's a deep cut. It's a deep cut. All right, moving on to the next topic: the game you played most in 2021. Spaz, do you have at least one?
Oh, the the space game I played most.
It doesn't have to be a space game. It could be anything.
Well, no. This one is explicitly a space game, though.
Okay.
It is FTL.
Oh.
With the multiverse mod that I've been talking about.
Oh, you have been talking about that for a little while now. Yes.
Interesting.
This mod, the multiverse mod, adds close to 200 playable ships that you can unlock. And it adds so many new weapons, more events, more races to play with. It's just a huge overhaul, and it is amazing. I've put over 200 more hours into FTL this year because of this mod.
Wow! Oh my gosh! Damn. Yeah, why don't you put a link in the stream chat so folks can see what you're talking about. Because I think you have mentioned this before, but I think people have also missed it. Thank you.
So I have linked its wiki because it gives you information as to where you can download it. There's a forum page where you can download the thing. And there's a couple steps that are not that difficult to follow. You just make sure you follow them as they are given. And you have to roll back your save or your game state in order to be able to get the mod to work. But once you do, you can even run it through Steam. And as I said, I put in about 200 more hours this year into FTL because of the mod.
I keep saying I'm going to try this, but I really do need to try this. Just the whole install thing looks a little bit daunting, but I will. It's
not as bad as it seems, honestly. It's not as bad as it seems. I could even talk you through it at some point.
Yeah, let's see. I'm looking at a Reddit thing now. Downgrade bad is for Steam. Jeez. Okay. It's
effectively 3 major steps to get it to work. And there's even an add-on you can put into the mod that allows you to, once you set your difficulty with this add-on, you can skip a few steps in choosing your difficulty. If you want to just play on the same difficulty every time, it skips a few clicks going through menus.
Okay. Julie, what would you say is your most played game of the year or games?
See, now you had 2 categories like this. You had most played space game and most played game. 2 different things for me.
Did I have most played space game? I thought I had space game of the year. Oh.
So do you want me to do one or the other or both?
You can do both. I apologize for that. Oh, I did do that. Yeah. Okay, you can do both. Yeah.
Most played, so in order then, most played game that is not a space game, because we have a static group that is, wow, surprise, surprise, held on for over a year now through the entire pandemic. And at first I wasn't sure I'd enjoy it, but when you got someone to help you through and guide you who really knows what they're doing, Final Fantasy 14. Wow, it's like you don't have to roll up another character, just play another class. A lot of fun, really enjoying it with a lot of other people. Most played space games, that is that it goes down to one of 3 games, and the one we'll have to apologize in advance to Spaz for, and that is first No Man's Sky. Really enjoyed that one, especially the newest release where you have they have the episodes that you can do, not the episodes.
The expeditions.
Expeditions, thank you. And they have, I think they call it the Frontier, where you have your own little village now. Wow, lots of fun. The other thing is, now I wish it were more interactive, and our little group here used to be more involved in it, and I understand why, and I won't bring it up, but that was Star Trek Online. Always been a Trekkie. That's how Sister Francis and I met. And the other thing is, the one, I know Spaz doesn't like it, but I really did, and that's X4 Foundations, and I played that until I basically destroyed the universe, and I'm sorry, universe.
Now let me correct you there, because I never said that I didn't like it.
See, I thought you didn't.
No.
Can I take my apology back?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I didn't play much of it, but that's because the X series for me has been a bit too crunchy, like flying a desk. But that doesn't mean it's bad. I don't think that it's bad. I think it's along the lines of a not for me, but not bad.
See, what I like about that, first, I'd like to thank you for all your help. Also, I went on to the Discord. The people who made the game have a Discord. And if it wasn't for all that, I would have said, because I didn't play any of the first ones. But what I like about this, it's like an RTS where you can hop in the ship and play the game. And I'm kind of sorry in the last playthrough, it's like, I guess drank the Kool-Aid. They said, "Would you like to invade the Federation?" I said, "Yeah, that's pretty good. What happened?" And then all of a sudden, the whole game is overrun with all these little ships. And I said, "Uh-oh, shouldn't have done it." But yes, I really enjoyed X4 Foundations because I can fly the ship and I can play the RTS part. Wow, a lot of fun.
I feel kind of bad that I gave you guys the same category kind of twice, so we can roll this up into one thing if you want. Spaz, do you have a space game you played most?
Well, my most played space game would obviously be between No Man's Sky and FTL because, well,
right, okay,
yeah, I have about 13 or 1400 hours total in No Man's Sky.
Oof.
Between PS4 and PC, and much of that was, of course, with our regular crew here. And I'm already up to 360 hours for FTL total hours, and 200 of that was this year. So if that tells you anything, yeah.
You people are far more focused than I do.
Yeah, I have a hard time focusing on just one game. That is so not me. Thorsten, what would you say your most played space and non-space games were this year?
Actually, I've got no non-space games.
Okay, that's fine.
But I've got a clear winner in this case for me. That's Approaching Infinity, especially after I've seen how much was added over at least in the last few months alone.
Oh my god! Yeah,
there's so much stuff, and I really love this game.
Yeah,
I will add that Bob is awesome.
Yes, Bob is awesome.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome.
He deserves all his success. Such a Cinderella story, that one. He deserves all of his success. Oh my god! I think so happy for Bob.
Yeah, and my other two picks would be No Man's Sky and Star Trek Online, as Julie. And No Man's Sky, I should get a special recommendation for this year, or for its whole development.
Oh yeah, another Cinderella story. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you that's a complete opposite of the aforementioned games, because all the meaningful additions to No Man's Sky is simply great. I can't praise Hello Games enough.
It's like most improved game.
Yeah, it's amazing what they've done. It's really amazing what they've done.
The expeditions is like, wow! I was so involved in the expeditions part, I couldn't pry myself away from the game.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Jacob, what about you? What would you say your most played space and or non-space games of the year were?
For the space game, it's a fairly simple one if you go by hard numbers. Drox Operative 2. Not much to say about it, in that it's just the first game but better. Because if by some miracle you are in the audience and not familiar with Drox Operative 2 after how much we've gushed about it over the past year.
What are you doing here?
That you mentioned it. Good. That was another game on my list, and it should be mentioned.
It is basically a brilliant idea of... it is an inherently brilliant idea of basically you playing what I could best describe as a space Illuminati with a spaceship in the middle of a 4X game.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could put it.
Yeah.
You're playing an ARPG while the AI plays a 4X around you.
Yeah.
Yes. And you can affect the 4X very directly, and you have certain goals and objectives depending on how you want to resolve things. Your end goal is to subjugate the sector under the command of you by whichever means available to you. However, when it comes to the game I played the most full stop, there's Final Fantasy XIV by a massive bloody margin.
Yeah.
Both because I have properly finished the previous expansion, Shadowbringers, and also because Endwalker is out now, and I have more reasons to play it, and there's more stuff to do because I needed more stuff to do. Apparently,
There's so much to do in that game.
and admittedly, it by technicality fits both categories because by the strictest technicality with Endwalker, it has Final Fantasy XIV has become a space game.
Really?
Yes, you go to the moon.
Okay. That's
One of the best things about Final Fantasy XIV is you can do a pickup group, and believe it or not, people are actually nice to you.
it's such a nice game.
Wow. And help out.
That's probably my most non-space game played this year as well. I took a break from Lord of the Rings Online to try it back in June, and I've put in well over 100 hours into it already.
It's a game that people like so much that you can't buy anymore because the servers are
Oh
dead.
my god, you can't buy it, and they stopped the free trials because it's just
There is no free trial.
right now. I mean, they're going to bring it back, folks. Don't you worry. They're going to bring it back once things stabilize, but they had to stop sale of the game because it was just too. The servers was just getting too slammed. It was too popular. Everyone and their mother was trying to log in, and yeah.
To be fair, last Sunday night, it only took us about 5-10 minutes to get in, as opposed to the previous Sunday night,
It's
which took an
getting
hour.
better.
Final Fantasy 14, Jack. Yeah, like those first few days after Endwalker came out, if you weren't getting a 2002 era, you were like, "Oh, I'm 6,000th in the queue." Okay, I guess I'm not playing this week. My God.
But if you glitch out, you don't lose your place in the queue if you come right back in.
At the very least, yeah.
I would say so. Yeah, that was my most non-played space game. Probably my most played space game. Probably Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. Honestly, I
Respectable choice.
I kept going back to it because I just wanted to murder people, and there are a few games that have space murder better than Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. It's just such a delight to just jump in and do some random missions and get some great music and murder some pilots.
It's the only game in the universe in which you can play as my namesake as the ship and murder stuff.
And it's portable now, too, because it's on Switch.
Yeah, that's true.
I wish it was on sale on Switch, but it's not. I would have picked it up if it was on sale, but it isn't yet. I'm playing the Switch more and more these days. Now that Bloody Rally Show has come out for it, I'm like, that was my window into playing the Switch more. So yeah, I want to get it on Switch, but I need to get it on sale. I will at some point, because I hear it's pretty much just as good on the Switch as it is on the PC, which is a feat. Really impressive. But yeah,
there are two drawbacks to that, though. Unfortunately,
yeah.
The first one is you don't have the paint tool.
Okay, sure.
The second is that you can't remap controls, and that's
Oof.
true of all console versions.
Oh, that's not great. Ugh.
I think that's just inherent to the way that the console ports were. And the paint tool was obvious because, well, they literally put in a full paint tool into the game, and it's amazing. But it's only on PC.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Hopefully, we'll get those modding tools someday for the PC version. Hopefully.
Yeah, but still on Switch, it's one of those things like, you got what to run on Switch? Wow, way cool.
I'm still amazed
Yeah,
they got
exactly.
I'm still amazed they got Skyrim to run on the Switch. It's just
And
amazing.
runs as smooth as a bunny's butt. Play it all the time.
nice.
I used to raise bunnies. I helped raise 1,400 bunnies at one point in college.
1,400.
Yeah, that's what helped put me through college, undergraduate school.
Gosh. Well, our last category then for our show is the game that would, like, when you look back on 2021, what's the game you think of? Like, what game defined your 2021? This is kind of a nebulous question, I know, but I thought it might be a fun one. So, Spaz, do you have, say, one game that defined your year this year?
Ooh, that's a tough call.
Right? It's a fun.
But I will say that it's FTL.
Right.
I keep on returning to it because of that mod that I mentioned, and it's mainly because of that mod. Because once you've unlocked everything, you've unlocked everything. But with that mod, there's almost 200 more ships to unlock. So you can throw a few hundred hours at it and still not have unlocked everything.
Julie, what about you? What would you say your game of, like, the game you played, like the game that defined your year? What would that be?
I got one. I had to quit playing. I'll link it in the chat and you'll see why.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
I used to play it all the time. And
Understandable.
when they sent, because I have severe asthma. Where I work, I was the first person sent home because they said, wow, we're going to send you home or you'll drop dead. And I used to play it mobile and, people that died from it. And now at least it's Plague Incorporated Evolved to Cure. And my understanding is they're putting money toward helping find a cure, but
Yes.
Used to play it all the time. And so there's good and bad thing about it. That's the only good thing about it is I've got to work at home for 2 years straight. And now I like all my coworkers because it's my sister and 2 furry dogs and a parrot. And, but other than that, yeah, kind of that defined my year.
Interesting. Thorsten, what about you?
Well, I wanted to name no game actually, because
Interesting.
most of the AAA publishers did really disappointed me this year. But I've got to name it Approaching Infinity.
Okay, that's fair.
It's the same. It's the same as for Spaz with FTL. I have so much fun with this game, and it clearly defines this year for me.
Yeah, and just to mention, Approaching Infinity now has, or its upcoming feature is more than one planet screen. I don't know if you saw the update that I shared about it. There's going to be the ability to move not just when you land on the planet and you have that one screen you're on. You can move, in some cases, 4 or 5 screens away from the landing point.
More stuff.
Yep.
I thought that was just a Patreon thing. Is he gonna add that into the game fully?
I'm not sure if he's going to add it into the game fully, but just the idea of that is amazing.
Yeah. Oh my god. It adds like tenfold the content that it already has.
Right.
Like, insane.
And each screen can have more than one cave. Or each planet can have more than one cave to go and delve into. So if you have enough oxygen, well, yeah.
Jacob, what about you, man?
A game that defined this year. Hard to say, because I've been admittedly maybe not playing less in the way of video games, but mostly dealing with more university. And again, I don't really stick to one game, and I've already mentioned Final Fantasy XIV, so I think I'm gonna skip, as disappointing as that may sound, because there's not much else for me to talk about.
That's fine.
It could be your pick. That's fine too.
Final Fantasy XIV can totally be your pick.
I'll go with that then.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to repeat myself about it because I've said my bit already.
It's also my pick, because it took over my life for several months. I'm now taking a break from it because I'm a little burnt out, but it took over my life for several months. And like a good chunk of this year was dedicated almost solely to Final Fantasy XIV. And I will get back to it at some point once I've gotten over the burnout I'm currently feeling. But yeah, that would say that was probably my game of 2021. Now, folks, we have one last category before we wrap up, and that is the space game of the year. There were a lot of good space games this year. Quite a few good space games this year, but I had to give it to one. It's the one on the stream, Slipways. If you guys haven't played Slipways, it's the distillation of the 4X genre down to a 3X puzzle game. It's explore, expand, and exploit. There's no combat at all, but you have to exploit in such a way and expand in such a way that every planet gets what it needs. And it is a very challenging, elegant, amazing thing that is just really probably one of the most impressive games. And it was tough because if Slipways hadn't come out, it probably would have gone to Sunshine Heavy Industries because that game is amazing. But Slipways is just an amazing strategy puzzle thing that will keep you coming back because you really, even when you lose, it's like, okay, I get why I lost. I'm going to try again and try to do better, you know? And, oh God, Chris, I have so many times cut myself off from planets I needed. So many times because like, hey, I want that one and that one. And, oh no, that's how all my games go. It's like, hey, things are going great. And, oh no, I messed this all up.
It's paradoxically the most interesting part of city skylines.
Oh, really?
Making roadways.
In a way, yeah, but it's also the whole supply and demand thing that it's just such an amazing thing. And I have never gotten more than like 1 star. I've won by the skin of my teeth every time. And like, even then it's a satisfying win. You're like, oh, I learned a little something. I'll do better next time. So the Space Game Junkie Space Game of the Year goes to Slipways because it is an absolutely astounding thing that any fan of space strategy games needs to play. And I think it's on sale currently in the big Steam sale, but oh my God, it's so good. So that is going to do it for this week and this year. My God, it's again the last show of the year. So friends, we hope whatever you do for New Year's, we hope you have a very safe and happy New Year celebration. May your 2022 be better than your 2021. And we're going to start the new year off with what should be a pretty fun topic. Warhammer games.
Oh, that's going to be a fun one.
I know, because it's like Star Trek and Star Wars games. It's so inconsistent. There are some great ones and some terrible ones and a bunch of forgettable ones. So, and they just keep pounding these damn things out. Like, oh my God.
And I swear to God, if anyone says StarCraft, I'm throwing you out the airlock.
Wait,
just telling you in advance.
Has someone said StarCraft is a war? Wait. Hang on. Has someone said StarCraft is a Warhammer game? Has someone claimed that?
Now, the thing is, it is, or rather it was supposed to be.
What?
But then GW went, hey, Blizzard, we're taking away your license. And Blizzard went, okay. And they made the game anyway with the numbers filed on.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
StarCraft was supposed to be a Warhammer game
originally. Yeah.
I did not know that. My God.
And the Games Workshop will die mad about it. I think. I presume.
Yeah, we'll try not to talk about the problematic nature of Games Workshop themselves, but only the games. Because Warhammer, however you slice it, has a long history throughout gaming's pretty much entire DNA. And so we've never done a show about it, surprisingly.
Yeah, there were Warhammer games of like the early Ataris, which I feel like we should actually mention. Okay, that's for next week. Let's carry on.
That's a great way to look at it. We can do that next week. So, friends, have a happy New Year, however you celebrate, and be safe, be well. And from all of us to all of you, have a great 2022, and we'll see you back here in 2020. That's a weird thing to say. Like 2022 is just days away, and it's like it sounds so weird. Like where are our jetpacks?
And if you say the year out loud, it sounds like last year.
It's 2020 too. No,
Electric Boogaloo. Isn't 2022 like the year where like Blade Runner and stuff takes place?
It's
Soylent Green.
No, Soylent Green takes place.
Green.
Yeah, Soylent Green is 2022. Blade Runner is 2019. Yeah, I know, right?
It's like
We're living in the future, people. We're living in the future, and the future is terrible.
So that's how it feels being the people and looking back at old sci-fi going like, in the distant future of 1992, humanity has conquered the stars.
Every year after 2021 is just all science fiction.
Really?
It sure as hell feels like fiction.
Well, I'm honestly glad we got smartphones and not flying cars, because smartphones are a lot safer than flying cars.
I feel like flying cars don't do well with DUIs.
I just don't think you should give people a third dimension. They're bad enough with two of them. So,
fair.
All right, friends, we will see you next week. Have a safe and great week, and we'll see you in 2022. That sounds so weird to say. Bye-bye, y'all.